So 37,500, his first close of his entire closing journey. Then let's move on to 14th August. There were 2 calls. He took 1 call, 1 offer, and 1 closed again for 25,000 rupees. What happened is, which happens with all the closers, they would see like, yeah, of course, like I know I'm closing, but again, I'm not doing anything significant, right? I've just closed like couple of thousands of rupees, not even a lakh. And that is exactly what started happening in Path's mind. How I turned a beginner into a high ticket closer in 30 days. So the rules are pretty simple. It was a 30-day ramp up period where we gave him 15 sessions, that is 1 session in every 2 days, and this is the journey of Parth. So we basically hired Parth. He's a person who has very little experience in the high ticket closing space. He has never sold at a high ticket price. He was doing setting work before this offer, but that is it. That's his experience. So he was a completely newbie, a beginner into the high ticket closing industry. And this is his entire journey, how things unfolded for him. So just for your context, we placed Parth on one of our clients' business, who is a business analyst, job placement coach. So Parth was regularly had to deal with working professionals and people who are very qualified, educated people who want to get a better job. So already the client avatar is somebody who is already very sophisticated, and Parth is a beginner. So this is going to be a journey to help him to level up his closing skills and his communication skills to close these people. The rules are pretty simple. We conducted 60-minute sessions with him 4 days a week, and we followed the rule of 1. What is the rule of 1? It means Parth had to sell only 1 offer to 1 target audience using 1 marketing funnel only. That is how you are able to ramp up closers very quickly to a high closing percentages, right? Now let's start with the week 1, which is going to be the foundations.
सिखाया प्रोबिंग, थोड़ा बहुत बताया, फ्लो कैसा होना चाहिए, 9 बिलीव्स को कैसे कवर करना चाहिए, वो सारी चीजें सिखाई.
क्वेश्चंस एंड ऑल आपको पता लग गए 9
हाँ जी.
बिलीव के?
हाँ जी.
ठीक है. प्रैक्टिस कर लिया आपने?
हाँ, मैं थोड़ा बहुत प्रैक्टिस किया है, थोड़ा ऐसे आउट लाउड ऐसे बात करके कैसे होगा, मैं ट्राई किया है. अभी कितना अच्छा जा रहा है देखते हैं.
In week 1, our entire aim was to overwhelm Parth in his entire journey, right? We taught him the entire predict selling method, which included the 9 beliefs, probing section, the pitch, the objection handling, everything A to Z, right? We were overwhelming him with information and he was consuming everything very properly, right? Next, we started his product training sessions with the business owner directly, where he was meeting with the business owner separately for 1 hour sessions, and he had 3 to 4 product training sessions separately with the business owner within the first week. Thirdly, we taught him the show up mechanism that we have in order for him to qualify and manage his calendar to the T. So he was able to manage his calendar every single day, confirm the apps, and make sure that they actually show up on the closing calls, because that is the major important part. And lastly, what we taught him was how to manage his own data as a sales closer, which is managing sales data sheets and having proper EOD structures that he was basically reporting to us, so that we can focus on the right things and help him to improve even faster. Week 2 was all about improving specifically his probing mechanisms. We were doing live mock calls, we were reviewing his calls that he was taking, and we found out that probing wasn't up to the mark. So we started focusing on week 2 just on probing, just on improving his probing.
So on a personal level, how is that affecting you? वो बताओ ना, क्या emotions है? How does that make you feel that you have been stuck in the same job for the last 2 years, which you are not enjoying that much?
On week 3, what we decided is we were going to specifically focus on the pitch part, so that he can show his expertise on the call. Why? Because knowing the product is one thing, but actually communicating the pitch in a manner that the person can view you as a proper expert is a separate game altogether. So that is what we helped him to understand, which is refining the pitch, giving him the framework, drilling it with him so that he becomes very good at pitching. And lastly, in week number 4, we worked on his objection handling. Why? Because his probing was going good, his pitch was going good, but ultimately he was losing deals in the objection handling phase, when people were like giving him smokescreen objections and he wasn't being able to handle them properly, right? So this is how we divided the 4 weeks. Now what happened in these 4 weeks? A lot of stuff, and I'm going to walk you through the entire journey with me right now. In the first week, Path picked up the entire thing really quickly. He was learning things very fast, which tells us about his growth mindset and his overall, he was growth oriented, so he was able to pick up things very fast. So if you see over here, in the first 10 days, here is the data for the month of August that Parth basically started taking calls. In the first 10 days, you can see there were 21 calls that were scheduled for him, basically from cold traffic, right? These are not organic people, these are purely cold traffic. We are running a VSL funnel. The client is running a VSL funnel, right? So 21 calls were scheduled, but live calls were only 13. And this is where we took a very big hit on the show up rate. Why did this happen? Because of course, this was the first 10 days of Path's career as a high ticket closer. His confirmation sequences, his calendar management ability wasn't up to that mark right now, right? So we had to quickly fix this, and that is why the show up then was improved. But over here we took like a very big hit, and it was like almost 8 to 9 individuals who no showed, and that dropped our show up rate significantly for the month, right?
ठीक है, अभी हम लोग करते हैं आज सिंपल. Let's do some call reviews. And call review में भी specifically objection handle देखते हैं आपको, जो आप कह रहे हो ना एंड में mindset वाला, उस पे वर्क करते हैं, क्योंकि वो needle mover होगा आपका भी.
Out of these 13 calls, you can see Parth made offer to 11 people and got 0 closes with a 0 cash collection in the first 10 days. Now, if you are a closer and you think you can come in and you can just start producing deals, that can happen. But if you are a beginner just starting out on a business analyst coaching or basically dealing with sophisticated clients, then it's going to be a bit challenging. And that is what Path started facing, right? But this is pretty common for us. We weren't expecting him to like do miracles and make 10 lakh rupees in cash collection in the first month. We know how this actually works in the industry, right? So in the first 10 days, of course, even after putting in so much of efforts, even after doing everything, he was feeling a bit demotivated. Why? Because he did not close any deals even after doing all these things. And that is where the mindset training comes into play. Mindset of a sales closer, basically, if you're going on calls regularly, you're speaking to almost 11 individuals in 10 days, it is going to take a toll on you if you're not able to close even one of them, right? And that is where, as a coach, as a manager, you need to help your closer and help them to understand that it's okay. It is okay. You are just learning right now. It's just 11 calls. You will get the sale. Don't worry, right? And that is how you have to give mindset coaching to your closers. Now moving on to the 11th day. Now you can see after the 10 days, on 11th day specifically, which is 11th of August, there were 2 calls scheduled. Both of them showed up, 100% show up rate. He made offers to both of them and he closed one person out of that, producing a cash collection of 37,500. And that is how you ramp up closers. Within the first 11 days, on the 11th day, Path was able to close his first deal. And of course, the deal size is not this. This is like he has given part payment, but that's fine, right? It is his first month, so we were not being super hard on him. And he was performing decently well as well, right? Qualitatively, he was on point, very coachable. So 37,500, his first close of his entire closing journey. He was very happy, of course, like any other closer. And then what happened is day 13th, which is 13th of August. There were 2 calls, 1 person showed up, 1 offer, 0 closes. Then let's move on to 14th August. There were 2 calls, he took 1 call, 1 offer, and 1 closed again for 25,000 rupees. Let's start with the client win or a personal win, whatever.
पर्सनल में तो मैं अगर बोलूँ तो आई एम लर्निंग अ लॉट, और मेरे को भी ऐसे जब भी मैसेज आता है कि यू हैव अ मीटिंग, मेरे को डोपामिन हिट होता है कि भाई और चाहिए.
Now, of course, the confidence of Path was on the next level. But what I observed over here is in the first 14 days, and how this change actually came in is after the first week, we observed we were doing the call reviews over here, right? when he made 11 offers. And on those call reviews, what I found out was his probing was very surface level. He wasn't going deep enough on the probing. And the reason behind that, which a lot of closers when they are starting out face, is they feel scared. They feel nervous that the person sitting in front of them is going to judge them. And that is why they are never able to ask deeper probing questions. They are never able to actually dig out what the real pain is. They'll stick to the surface level answers. They'll just accept the surface level answers that the people are giving. And that is where you lose out the deals. You need to go deeper, right? And that is what we fixed in the first basically chunk of offers that Parth made. After this, we were able to solve this, and that is how he got 2 sales in the next couple of days itself, right? In the next 3 days. But after this was fixed, we are constantly meeting him. We met him almost 15 times in the month of August out of 31 days. So we are constantly meeting and reviewing his calls, right? The next thing that we saw is in week number 3 that his pitch wasn't up to the mark. When I say wasn't up to the mark, he was saying all the right things, right? But that level of expertise, that level of knowledge, that communication wasn't basically landing with the prospect. And that is the second leaky point that we found out. So we decided that we'll have to fix that as well, and we started working on it. And of course, a lot of training sessions were taken by the business owner as well, giving him more product training, how to present things, what are the nuances of his offer, right? What guarantees and things he offers basically. So we started working on the pitch part again. And over here, my entire aim with Path was to teach him the converting pitch mechanism. If you haven't watched that video already, you can watch the video. I'll link it to the end screen and you can watch it after this video. But I started teaching him the entire logic on how to actually pitch a person, right? And that is what we did in this 3rd week overall, right? Till 21st of August. Now you can see like 15 to 22nd again, he took like almost 12 calls were booked for him. 8 were live calls. That means like 4 people no showed, and he made 7 offers and again 0, no sales. So again the confidence started going low over here, right? And if you see now, moving on to 23rd, again he took 4, he was having 4 calls on the single day, made 4 live calls, 4 offers, and he closed 1 person again with a 5k deposit. And again he was basically on the upward track. But now what happened is, in the 3rd week, while we were doing the pitch, the probing was done, we were meeting him regularly, constant feedback, he's taking calls, right? What happened is, which happens with all the closers, they would see like, yeah, of course, like I know I'm closing, but again, I'm not doing anything significant, right? I've just closed like couple of thousands of rupees, not even a lakh. And that is exactly what started happening in Path's mind. He started feeling underconfident, not because he was not doing good. He was actually doing good on paper, right? He was closing decently. He was following the entire framework and things that we were telling him to implement. He was being a very good team player. But that mind starts playing tricks on you, right? Whenever you're doing something significant, the mind always wants results instantaneously in this, attention span, where we have a very short attention span. And that is what started happening with Parth. His negative thought, his negative beliefs started overpowering him. And he went into like a very dark place overall, where he was thinking to quit high ticket closing altogether. And that is the point when my partner Shaurya Mehta, who is the partner at Top Line Selling, he basically pointed this out. Then he had a different whole together session with Parth, and just to make sure that you have the right context, me and Shaurya both were meeting Parth throughout this journey, right? It wasn't just me. Now he had this session with Parth where he gave him a lot of mindset coaching. I will share the screenshot as well of Parth's LinkedIn post tagging Shaurya. And that is how he was able to again come back and take control of his mindset. And Parth was again back on the right track. Now the last stretch of the month, which was 24th to 31st of August, 12 calls were booked on his calendar. 10 people actually showed up on the call, and 7 offers were made, with again 1 more person closed and 10,000 rupee deposit. Now if you see in this entire journey of 30 days that we were ramping up Parth, his call to close rate was 10%, right? he basically closed 4 deals, and cash collection you can calculate around 70, I think around 70ish thousand, and a show up rate of 70%. And of course the show up rate would be more if we did not have this downfall in the first 10 days, right? Now this is how you actually, these are the challenges, and this is exactly how you ramp up closers fast. Now we weren't expecting Parth to close at 20-30% in the first month itself. We knew he's a beginner. What we were looking for is both quantitative data and qualitative data. When I say quantitative data, this is quantitative data. Is he taking enough calls? Is he making enough offers? Is he like converting at a bare minimum 10% right now? Yes, perfect. Quantitative data is on point. Next is qualitative data, which means, is he following the show up mechanisms? Is he confirming the clients? Is he following what we are teaching him? Is he being coachable, right? Is he implementing the feedback? Is he properly on time posting the EODs on the group so that we don't have to call him and bug him of what happened today, right? So these were the things that we were looking for, qualitative, quantitative, and Parth was able to succeed, put a check mark on both of these boxes. And that is why he's still continuing with us. And this month we have a goal for him to at least do a cash collection of 8 to 10 lakh rupees. Now you would think, Shashank, that that's a pretty far goal, right? That's a pretty big goal. It is a big goal, but again, what we need to now work on are different sets of things that he's facing right now, correct? So again, if you like this video, I'll make a follow-up video on what happened in the month of September for Parth. Let me know in the comments, and you can like the video and subscribe to the channel if you want more sales related videos just like this.